Hi, everybody. I'm Sabrina. Welcome to the Sovereign Divorce. I think it's very important that we talk about forgiveness for our spouses, forgiveness to our friends, forgiveness to those family members who might be siding with our soon to be ex, and forgiveness for ourselves. So often we get so caught up in circumstances, what they're doing, what they're saying. Oh my gosh, this person is taking team X, right? Or I'm losing this friend because they believe the side of my ex or soon to be ex. Or I can't believe he said that. Or I can't believe she did this. I can't believe this person betrayed me like that. And the more we marinate in all of these circumstances, the more we dwell on what happened, what happened to us. And I'm not saying these things aren't bad, and I'm not saying you shouldn't take the time to mourn what's really happening in your life and sit in it for a minute, but just a minute. Because the more you dwell and the more you marinate and the more you should have, could have, would have yourself, you're just going to be miserable in the now. And you're going to be preventing yourself from moving forward and living your best life. There are so many things that can really just tie us down and cause so much stress in our lives. And when you go through divorce, it's awful. It's a huge trauma. It can be extremely traumatic, not only for you, but for your children, if you have kids, even your family members, because to them, it's if they're not able to speak to your spouse, or if they feel like somehow they're the ones, missing out. A lot of times that happens. Family members get so attached to, you as a couple, even your friends. You might lose your friend group. You might miss out on what the neighbors are doing or the community that you've established. And that is very hard. And unless you've gone through that type of situation, you really just don't understand how it feels. But the reason why I'm bringing this up about forgiveness is because unless you let go and truly forgive, you will never be at peace internally. And when you dwell on all of that stuff, all the bad things, you'll continue to attract that to your life. There's a Buddhist saying, that they talk about, holding on to a hot coal. It's only hurting you. That heat, the heat, the temperature, the hotness, the it's burning you. So you have to learn how to let things go. And that's not always easy, especially if you feel you've been wronged in your situation. Now, I know we're talking about relationships, and there's always three or four sides to every story. There's the he said, there's the she said, or the she and he, whatever type of dynamic you're in. There's no judgment here. But there's also the relationship side, there's this friend side, there's the family member side, and everyone has their own perspective. And your perspective is born out of your own internal programming. You've heard it, maybe you haven't heard that we're living in a hologram. And all that really means is whatever you have going on internally is recreated out and manifested out in your reality. So that's why similar patterns continue. That's why you continue to be faced with similar circumstances. They might end up looking different externally, but you end up somehow with the same narcissistic guy, or you're always cheated on, or you're always left, or you're always ghosted. It's because of your own internal programming. So the first piece of letting all that go is forgiveness. And if you have to forgive your inner child, forgive your little self, your younger self, then do it. Do what's necessary to move on beyond it. We have to learn what works for us. There's so much in the community at large talking about just letting things go or just decide and you'll have this amazing life. Or, you have to fix your self concept or you have to work on your inner child or all the different speak, whether you're in the manifestation community, the divorce and family community, or just in general, life in general, whether you're religious, spiritual, or agnostic, it doesn't matter. All that matters is for you to live your best, truest, and most sincerely happy life. You need to be at peace with yourself. And in order to be at peace with yourself, you need to first learn how to let go of everything and anyone that does not serve you. I'm not saying to completely shut everyone out of your life, especially if you're a co parent. You have to learn how to get along with your co parent. I'm saying to establish boundaries and put yourself first. I'm saying to let things go for you, not necessarily for them, but for you. If you don't let that shit go, you're going to be terribly miserable for the rest of your life. Somewhere, somehow, there's a piece of you that's still holding on, that's still resentful, that's still feeling bitter and ashamed and feeling guilty or whatever feelings you attach to that thing or that person. If you don't let it go, it will eat away at you and it will show up in other relationships. Trust me on that. Have you ever been out on a date with someone and they just talk so negatively about their ex? Do you think that that's appealing? Do you think that that's, interesting for that new person? That new person's going to think, oh my gosh, they're going to talk this badly about me in the future. You got to let things go because it's just a reflection of you anyway. If you don't let it go, it will eat away at you. And eventually, no one's going to want to be around you, especially if you're constantly telling everyone else that you're the victim or you've been traumatized like this or you've suffered all of this. Sure, maybe for the first year or two or however long, depending on the trauma you've endured, get the help you need, whether it's through therapy or coaching or however you need to get that help. I'm not judging how you get the help. I'm just telling you, you should be getting help to get rid of whatever it is that's troubling you. And then you hear a lot people say, oh, well, I've forgiven, but I can never forget. Well, that's a problem too. Because if you don't forget, then that's still eating away at you and that's still bringing it into this current day reality, this moment now. Sure, you want to forgive and forget. And why do I say that? I say that not because, you know, you want to be hurt like that again. So that's why you have your wall up. You can't forget it. That's why you're never going to let them do it to you again or anyone else for that matter. Shame on me. Burn me once, shame on you. Burn me twice, shame on me. You know that old saying? Well, the person that learns truly how to forgive and forget in their heart is the one truly at peace within themselves. Forgiving and forgetting is the truest, most authentic way to be at peace internally. And when you're at peace internally, your life will start to flow. It might not happen overnight. You might take a very long time to heal. And that's okay as long as you're working on that healing journey. And most of the time, people heal in relationships. It's easy to be on your own and everything is good and you're living your best life and you're single and all that after you got out of a marriage, let's just say, or a relationship and you're by yourself. But until you're face to face with another dynamic, and sometimes those patterns continue, you won't truly learn how to grow out of those old patterns unless you force yourself out of those patterns. And forgiveness is the first step. Try not to get into another relationship until you've truly forgiven. But the way to forget is learning how to live with yourself in another dynamic, in another situation, so that you don't repeat the same patterns. And sometimes if we attract similar situations, then well, we know we have more work to do. And you need to then, okay, step back, take a longer break, take a longer healing journey, and then move forward. But it's easy for other people to judge when they're not in your shoes. But you don't need to worry about outside validation. You don't need to worry whether someone's going to like you or validate your worth because you get it from yourself internally. You derive your self worth from yourself. That's why it's called self worth. You don't get your worth from anyone else. And if you continue to look for that validation in a partner, you will continue to make those same mistakes. And the first step in all of that is forgiving yourself for all of what you consider past mistakes. And let me just tell you this, the only person judging your mistakes is you. They don't have to be labeled mistakes. You are a human being here learning and growing and experiencing life. There are no mistakes in any of this. The only person being hard on you is you. You have to let that go. Show yourself peace, show yourself love and forgiveness, and forget those old things that happened to you. Don't judge them because then you're putting them somehow on a pedestal. And whether it's involving another person or circumstance, let's just say there was an awful experience with even a friend, you have to let it go and forgive and move on because you were a part of that dynamic too. It wasn't just that other person. And when you bring a lot of that old stuff in the now moment, again, you're just hurting yourself. So let's work on how we see ourselves, be grateful to who you are and that you're still here and that you can improve, you can learn how to grow from the experiences from before. You don't have to let them stymie you and keep you stuck to who you were in the past. Allow those experiences to expand your awareness, expand who you are. The minute you let something define and defeat you, then there's no hope for the future. There's no hope for moving on and getting better and improving your life and where you are. And you have so much to offer. You have so much to contribute. You have so much to give in this world. And you're only beginning. So if you let this divorce define you and tell you that means you're an awful person because you didn't make it work, or you're going to screw up your kids, or you're going to, destroy your whole family, or your, friends are not going to like you anymore. Well, tough. This is your life. You get to decide how you want to live your life. This is your reality. This is your life. And once you decide clearly and definitively what it is that you want, then you just have to let everything else go. So decide, make that decision decisively, stick to it. And you could waver from that. I'm not saying, you can never change your mind. But once you make the decision to move on with your life, then you have to let everything go. Forgive yourself first and foremost. And then when you feel more adjusted, you are going to have to forget. Because once you truly forget, then you've stepped into a new identity and you are where you need to be to live the life of your dreams. Only when we step into the new identity and let go of everything in the past can you truly say that, wow, I don't want to be that person anymore. I don't want to be that version of myself anymore. This is who I am now. And I'm here now and I'm happy. I'm content. You don't have to be happy every single minute of the day. I mean, we all have down days. We all have life happening to us still. But at least you're letting life happen to you on your terms, the way you want. And when life happens to you on your terms, even though not everything is going to be a bowl of cherries, you're reacting in a different way. You're rising to every occasion. You're reacting in a way that suits you, not out of anger, not out of frustration, but truly from a place of peace within. So when your ex comes to try to argue about some asset, something or another with the divorce or your co-parenting schedule, you'll be able to handle it with the grace and the dignity that is deserving of you and your new identity. So I hope that helps, guys. I'm Sabrina. This is The Sovereign Divorce, and I really hope you come back and subscribe to my channel. It would really mean a lot. Talk to you soon. Bye for now.